my name is Phillip Martin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And honestly, if you can consider hitting the like button or the subscribe button, that would be fantastic. If you would share something, absolutely fantastic. The way YouTube is set up, and I'm very grateful for YouTube for providing this platform. I think it's probably, YouTube is the least censored, freest social media platform I can think of. At least, yeah, mass in use social media platforms. So I'm very grateful that it exists and gives a place that, we can express our views. But if you're not a massive multinational corporation, they don't give you so much love. So if you're hitting that like and subscribe button, really, really helps me, and I'm very, very genuinely appreciative of you for doing that. So appreciative. I'm going to give you stuff. I want to give away stuff. Each week I'm giving away DVDs and Blu-rays. This week is a weird one. It is Syl and the Devil Seeds of Arodor. This is a Doctor Who spin-off made on a micro budget. Came out last year. If you know who Syl is, this one is probably for you. If not, probably not. But if not, don't worry. I'm doing do giveaways every week. I got a bunch more Doctor Who. We've got Breaking Bad to give away. I'm going to start that when Better Call Saul starts. All you need to do to win this one is subscribe to the channel. That's the important part. And leave the hashtag marshmallows. That is in the video description. If this video goes out after Sunday, which I doubt it will, we'll be giving away something else. Just look at the video notes and it will tell you what's going on and what you need to do to win it. Great! I'll be doing the giveaways on Sundays on the TARDIS Zone, about 2 hours after Doctor Who airs in the UK, which is around 7 p.m. in the UK. Do the math. And you'll work out where we are. So, this has nothing to do with Doctor Who's at all. It's to do with Star Trek. I watched Star Trek last week. I'm about to watch the next episode 4 of Picard. But before I do, I'm going to say kudos to Michael Shaban, because I watched that episode and I was very upset. It really, really upset me in a lot of ways. I didn't like. I don't like the F-bombs. I don't like the depiction of the Federation as being evil and racist. I hated the smoking. All these things. The sunglasses I thought were just stupid. So yeah, all these things I thought were just really, really bad ideas. But kudos to Michael Shaban, who is the showrunner, or at least was the showrunner on Picard. He got hired around episode 2 or 3, I think, or 3 or 4, and then he was fired by the end of the season. So yeah, that shows you how well that worked out. Fired. Maybe he went on to work on other projects. Whatever Hollywood speak they use. But kudos to him, because he went on to his Instagram and put out a video, not him explaining, him talking about why he made the creative choice he made. It's a bunch of text things. I wish it would just put out as a text, so I can read it much easier. But kudos to him for addressing it and engaging with the audience, who was very upset. I think other showrunners could learn a lot from him. I think if like Chris Chibnall from Doctor Who, rather than smugly looking down and pretending he's thinking he's better than the world around him. You're not. You've taken a very valuable and beloved show and destroyed it by engaging with the audience, rather, because it's something that he's not very good at. This thing by Michael Shaban at least made me want to cut him some slack. I respected that he engaged with us. So fine. So his answers were, I didn't like his answers. That'll be clear. His answers did not satisfy. No, his answers I didn't agree with. They satisfied me, but I didn't agree with them. And I think the core problem is, was really revealed in his answers. The first core problem is this: that Star Trek, the original Star Trek in the 60s, and I think even in the 80s and 90s, was both inspirational and aspirational about the Western world, about the world that it came from. It viewed that America, basically America, well, I'm going to say the Western world, but it viewed American society as not being perfect and being riddled with problems in the 60s, but the ideals of the Western world, the ideals of liberty, democracy, justice, and freedom, those ideals are setting humanity on such an incredibly good trajectory that in 200 or 300 years we will have a utopia. So it was coming, I think, from a real genuine love of America and a love of the Western world and a love of the free market economy and the egalitarianism that somebody can really do whatever they wanted to do or succeed if they put hard work in. That was a wonderful idea. And I think the reason that's been lost today is because people just don't like putting hard work in. This generation does not like working hard, and so they don't like the idea of hard work will set you free. Although that was on the gates of Auschwitz. Achbach macht free. Work will set you free. No, just as an aside, I went. It's a long time ago, about 10 years ago. I went to this restaurant in Israel. I live in Israel, and it's called. They had on the outside American Bistro, and it was freaking awful. It was terrible. So I put on Facebook at the time that it said American Bistro out the front. Never had there been a more misleading or erroneous sign on an entrance to somewhere since Auschwitz had Arbach macht frei, that the work will set you free on the gates. So we're not up to that. So, but I think there's a real feeling today that the Western world is not a good place. Is not a force for good, but a force for ill. And I think that's insanity. I think that's why there's this real push in England to like denigrate Churchill, the greatest Englishman. I think there's a real. That's why the push is to destroy the past, because they think that Western world, that America, that this free market, egalitarian, capitalist society is intrinsically evil. And I have to say, just looking at history, looking at the world around us now, and looking at human history, I can't think of a better society that has been less bigoted, one had more opportunity than the history of in the history of humanity. So I just think it's a real, just a real corruption of reality to that it's coming from, and I think that's really the core issue about Star Trek. But there's going to be some more things that we'll get into. So the first thing they asked about is the Vulcan wearing sunglasses. As I said, wait, don't Vulcans have secondary and tertiary eyelids because of the very bright hot sun on Vulcan, which I didn't know about. Listen, I consider myself. I like Star Trek. I don't know if I'm really a Trekkie or Trek. I would use Trekkie over Trekker, for example. I've seen every episode. I've seen every episode with the word Star Trek on it ever produced. I bought every episode of Star Trek I think ever produced in VHS, on DVD, and now on Blu-ray. I bought it many times over. Did I buy Voyager? I don't think I bought Voyager. And obviously I have them all on Netflix. And I didn't buy Discovery. And I doubt I'm going to buy Picard. So I really don't know how much of a Star Trek fan I am. I think that's a reasonable fan, but I didn't know about the Vulcans like tertiary eyelids or things like that. But I thought it was a good point to bring up. So Michael Chabon answered that she wasn't wearing the sunglasses to protect her eyes. So what was she wearing them for, Michael? He never really answered. I'm looking at his Instagram post now. I'm just trying to move over to his answers. Well, therefore, what might we logically infer? I don't know. I don't know what we might logically infer. That's what he wrote. What therefore might we logically infer? That she wants to look like Secret Squirrel, like it's just like that you like very current day looks and feels to things. I just think it's dumb. So then they talk about Raffi vaping, which I really, really hated. And he came up with quite a decent answer, but again, it doesn't really deal with, not living, not being a utopian society, and that utopian society is based on the trajectory that the Western world has been going on since the 1950s and 60s. So Raffi is using a Orion flash pipe, smoking called a hodgel, and smoking snake leaf. Now, I have no idea if that is a part of canon, but okay, fair enough. But I hate it. Again, I hate it because it's not aspirational, inspirational. I think it has a fundamental misunderstanding about what Star Trek is and what Star Trek came from. But again, kudos to him for answering it. So then the next thing he goes on and talks about is why things don't look kind of Star Trek-y in the future. And his answer was, listen, things basically progressed to a point where they've been perfected and then they don't change. Like a book is going to stay a book, is going to stay a book. A knife is going to stay a knife. A bottle is going to stay a bottle. That's not entirely true. But your basics of design isn't going to change, so things aren't going to look too Star Trekky. I think the point is this: that Star Trek fans like things to look Star Trekky. We kind of like those big, clunky pieces of plastic that were like computer chips. Or in the Next Generation, they did them with like clear plastic. We like that. The audience likes that, and this wider audience that you think you're connecting to doesn't exist. I don't think it exists. I would like to see your viewing figures. I would really like to see how, what sort of hit this is. Now, I think the Mandalorian probably did get very good figures, but I do not believe that this is going to get CBS All Access out the hole. Although I do understand CBS All Access is going to be rolled into a Viacom streaming service. Fine. So the next thing to talk about is Captain Reyes smoking on the ship, and they comes up with a real weird answer to that. He's like, he does. He said, I'm going to quote him because I don't want to take him out of context. It's yes, but but here's the thing about Reyes. He studiously maintains a lot of seemingly outmoded habits, practices, and pursuits. Many, but not by no means all, of them are connected to his ancient Latin American heritage. So you're saying because he's Hispanic, he'd like to smoke a cigar? That doesn't sound so kosher to me. What the hell? You can't say. And then they come up with the idea of what's it, synth cigars, which actually I thought that was a pretty good answer. They should have just stuck with that one. So now they go into talking about the swearing in Star Trek, and he brings a few points. He says, "Listen, the reason, if there's no, any society that would prohibit the use of swearing, of profanity, is a dystopia which he wouldn't want to live in, which he used the profanity to explain it." And then he says the absence of swearing isn't about the Federation rules, the Federation principle. It's about the FCC rules. The writers of those previous eras were censored. No, you know what it was? It was the previous eras had a concept of not just doing whatever you felt like when you feel like doing it, which is very, very 2020. It's very 2016, 2017, but it's a very current day way of looking at the world. With this. Where people haven't worked. Okay, you have a choice in life. You can either do what you want to do or be the person you want to be. Very rarely can you do both. And the world of Star Trek, we have people who decided to be the people they wanted to be rather than just do what they want. So that's why I think the swearing, especially the Starfleet Admiralty swearing, don't just do whatever the hell you want. Have a bit of self-control. Have a bit of self-respect. And I think that's he also talks about Rabbi calling Picard JL. Yeah, which again, I just hated. The Picard we wouldn't put up with it. Then the answer they gave was that they work very together on refugee planets. It's a very intimate but not sexual bond. That you have to say not sexual and you say the word intimate. It just shows us the degeneracy of the society, of the worldview you're coming from. And I hate you're putting that degeneracy into Star Trek. I just hate it. We're not all as degenerate, vile Hollywoodites like you are. So, that's the... they say that because they were very close together, that's why he abandoned that decorum. I disagree. I knew somebody, a couple who survived the Holocaust, living in sewers in, I guess, Germany or Poland somewhere, and they had no privacy from each other whatsoever. They had, they had to go to the bathroom in front of each other. Whatever. There was no dignity and there was no privacy from each other. And the way that they stayed human, the way that they maintained their dignity, is to speak to each other with respect. They were a married couple, and they called each other. I can't remember what their name was. I think Margulis. They said Mr. Margulis and Mrs. Margulis, and they kept calling each other that their entire lives. They were the sweetest people ever. But it's that. Having some formality, formality is an expression of respect of one another, which again is just, it's all this like vacuous 2020 logic that I think is just running through the entirety of Discovery, certainly the idiotic short trek. And Picard, and even though you got the great Patrick Stewart's fantastic performance, That's why I think we're not feeling like it's Star Trek, like we think that we want the Star Trek to be. Yeah. So and look, if it finds an audience, I'd love to see if it finds an audience, but I don't think it's going to, and I think it's betraying its core principles by doing it. I don't think it's doing it intentionally. I think it's doing it because it's being made by people who are degenerate, trying to write about a utopia, and degenerate people can't understand utopia. My advice to Michael Shaban is go and find a community that has real values and really sticks by it, even if you don't agree with those values. Like, go and find a Mormon community. Now, honestly, I don't know much about Mormonism, but it seems kind of crazy to me. However, I've never met a Mormon who I thought was, well, that's a terrible person. They've always the nicest human beings I've ever met, ever. Yeah, and okay, their outlook is strange. Their religion is a bit strange. Fine. It's not for me to judge. Find a community where people don't do what they want, but be the people they want to be. Find that community and live in it. And then you can write Star Trek. And then you can write a Star Trek that would connect to people, a Star Trek that would elevate people, a Star Trek that would be both aspirational and inspirational, which is, I think, what we all really want. But what do you think? do you wildly disagree? Listen, I understand Star Trek fans do not like people talking against Star Trek. They don't like it. They get angry by it. If you're watching this video, let me know what you think. Really, let's put your thoughts in the comments section, and tell me why you disagree, and let's have a dialogue. Because look, if you love Star Trek and I love Star Trek, there's more that unites us than divides us, and let's be friends. Even if we disagree, let's just be friends. Which I think, you know what? Oh, if not friends, let's just have mutual respect. Which I can't think of that's something that's more Star Trek than that. I can't think of anything that's the epitome of Jean-Luc Picard than just having respect for others, even if we disagree with them on things that are important to us. My name is Phillip Martin, the Rabbi from Another Planet. Please like, share, subscribe. You can consider hitting the like button. That would make me just tingle with pleasure, and I'm very, very, very grateful. You can hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much. And anything you want me to talk about, just put the message in the video comments. Don't forget the hashtag marshmallows and subscribe if you want to win that very weird Blu-ray. I'm giving away different things each week. Thanks so much for listening, and have yourself a fantastic day.